Again, same technique, putting the compound on. I like to always show, I used to say, you know, folks would be like, well, how do I keep it clean? How do I do this? That's going to come from practice. It's just practice, keeping it clean and practice, right? I always taught my apprentices that when they were grabbing compound off the hawk, to make sure you heard that. Do you hear that? And what that does is it gives you a clean edge of your knife. Your knife is clean. So that just means that you're going to have a better chance of being clean on the wall. That's all that is. It's just a little thing that I always said, hey, hear that. Hear that that hawk is clean. See that that knife is clean. You don't have stuff hanging off of it. Easier said than done. It's repetition and practice, I promise you. So we're going to start at the corner bead. And again, watch where my fingers are. It's very, very important. It's going to help you in the long run. Where you position your hands and fingers on the knife is really important. So we're going to get a decent amount of compound on there. I'm going to start from here. And it's the same thing up and down or horizontal. It's the same. You're going to open your knife. My finger's going to be a little bit lower on the knife. My other fingers are going to be lower on the handle. And we're just going to push until we don't feel it anymore. Look where I'm holding that knife. All right? This handle's almost on the wall. There's another little trick that I like to share. Same, get your compound. You can also, instead of just starting like that, put a little dab there and then drag it. I have found that that helps a lot of people who are doing it for the first time. Keep it a little bit cleaner, keep it a little bit more uniform. We don't want this. We don't want that. We want compound in there. If you run your tape over top of this with no compound in there, what are we going to get? We're going to get blisters. I said that earlier. The funny part about blisters is you don't know that you have a blister until you put the second coat on. I mean, obviously, if we had a big blister like that, we would be able to tell. If that happens, even the smallest, if it's the size of a dime even, we won't know that we have a blister there until we put the second coat on. So now think about this. Your first coat is dried. You come back, you want to put your second coat on. You run your second coat. All of a sudden, you see a bubble. You're like, oh, what is that? Well, that's a blister. That means you didn't do your job on the first coat. What do you have to do? You got to cut that blister out. So essentially, we're almost starting from scratch. So now we're setting ourselves back. We're not setting ourselves up for success. Okay? Let's go with the technique here. I'm going to just swat it on there, and I'm going to float that. I'm going to swat it sideways, and then I'm going to float it. Okay? You can usually tell. You can see a little bit of sheetrock there. I'm okay with that. You could always put a little bit of compound back on your knife and just float. No pressure. Just float right over it. All right? Yes, there's some videos out there that are going to tell you to put it on differently. Yes, there are going to be people that say, why are you putting it on like that? There's another technique where you slide the compound on. You don't need as much, but now you have to press even harder to get that recess filled. Remember, our goal is to fill this recess. Okay? That recess is pretty much filled at this point. We really don't have to do too much extra work. Now, when we come back and we embed the tape and we wipe, we got a better chance of having that seam being filled with compound, which is what our goal is. So again, help ourselves. Don't leave a little bit of compound in there, just enough for the tape to stick there. The recess isn't filled, because what happens is now I have to make that up on the second coat. And I got to fill that recess on the second coat. And what happens? Compound shrinks. Okay? Just as I was saying earlier, if we put too much compound on there, we can have a hump. If we put too little, you can still see the recess. We need to make sure we have adequate amount of compound in there with the tape, fill the recess to give us a better chance of being successful for our second coat. Remember, flat and smooth is our goal.